I took the OnePlus Open with me to Vegas to test the cameras and the battery life and a whole lot more, and this is one of my favorite phones released in the last year, and here's why. Hey y'all, I'm Shannon Morse. This is my natural curl, it's not a perm, and I do in-depth reviews of the tech devices that I'm currently nerding out over. Huge thank you to OnePlus for sending over this phone for review. Now this is the first foldable release by OnePlus, and it is about $1,700 MSRP. However, you can get a really great deal on this device with trade-ins and sales. It's available in a couple of colors. There's Voyager Black, and there is this one called Emerald Dusk, which is the color I have here. In the box, you get a case, an 80-watt Super VOOC power adapter, and a cable. By the way, a little tech insider fact, Oppo is OnePlus's sister company, which is why you see VOOC used in Oppo phones as well. Also, Oppo came out with a folding phone that looks extremely similar to this one. It's called the Find N3. If you ever win a trivia night for that random little bit of tech information, then let me know. I am quite impressed with the build quality of this phone. It's really beautiful, especially since it's a first foldy from OnePlus. Unlike its competitors, this feels like a first-gen foldable that did not feel like a beta test. It feels fine-tuned, very nice and premium. It's lighter than other folds at 239 grams. That's a little bit over 8 ounces. It's very lightweight. And it's a little over 6 inches in height and 2.88 inches wide when it's closed. It is not a thick boy either, so whenever this thing is folded, I was pretty impressed with the depth, which is on par with my standard phones. Unfolded, it feels really nice and thin, but since the materials include titanium alloy, carbon fiber, and a very, very smooth, strong hinge, I did not feel like I was gonna break it due to that thinner form factor. That hinge is satisfying to snap close and open. I mean, I really like that. I also like that there's a small dip in the design right here, so I have a place to stick my nails whenever I want to open it. The alert slider is back. It's right here. I love that placement. It's very tactile, and I love the haptic vibration feedback you get whenever you change it between silent, vibrate, and ring. I also really appreciate this design, and I thought this was a smart choice by OnePlus because when you open it, it ends up on the left side, which is kind of traditional OnePlus. So that was really cool and a nice little tidbit Easter egg that I was not expecting with the OnePlus Open. Now these displays are 2K AMOLED, 120 Hz, 2800 nits peak brightness. That's very, very bright. So here you can see it at full brightness. That is really nice. This front display is a 6.31 inch, while the internal folding display is 7.82 inches. And this screen pairing is one of the biggest selling points of this phone, especially for me. First, you have this outer display, or the front display, which is wide enough to feel very comfortable to type on, and it feels like a very normal aspect ratio. It's really easy to go from a traditional phone to this foldy since the display is very normal. It does not feel squished. It's a flat display, there's no curves on the edges with minimal bezels, and there's also a screen protector pre-installed. It is also LTPO, and it goes down to 10 Hertz. Now let's go ahead and open this. So satisfying. That crease is nearly invisible whenever it's unfolded. Like you can barely see it when I kind of shift this around in my studio lighting, but it is hard to see that crease. It's really big. I had tons of fun multitasking on this display. More on that in a little bit. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this OnePlus phone in terms of multitasking. I also really enjoyed this big screen for playing games, which by the way, huge thank you for recommending Genshin Impact to me as a tester game for these reviews. I am a big Zelda fan. I love console gaming, and I am loving this open world concept for Genshin Impact with multiple characters and all these cool weapons that you can get in the story and that little Paimon character that floats around with you. I'm at the very beginning, but yeah, I can see myself spending a lot of time in that world, so thank you. Thanks for that. Okay, but back on topic, the display is really beautiful when you're using it. It's hard to notice that crease. It's barely there even when you run your finger over it. It's very smooth. You can barely feel it. We have that familiar screen cover on the folding display as well, so there is a screen protector on there. But obviously, I would say take care of your folding devices because these screens are not going to be as durable as our traditional glass. But OnePlus put this thing through a certification for 1,000,000 folds, so we know that it can last for a long time, which would be like 100 folds per day for 10 years. That folding display is also LTPO 3.0 and it goes down to 1 Hertz. By the way, this channel is my career. This is my job. I put a lot of work into it, and this video is not sponsored, but I did want to shout out my Patreon and YouTube membership S'mores members for supporting my channel. Thank you so much. They get access to a private Discord. There's early access to any videos that I have ready to go before they're supposed to publish on YouTube. There's a monthly live stream plus a lot of other perks. The join button for YouTube is down below, and my Patreon is patreon.com/Shannon Morse if you want to sign up. You don't have to. Videos will always be free to watch, but the membership keeps the videos coming even when the sponsorships are not there. So huge thank you to my S'mores members. Let's get back into the review. Now, I really wanted to focus on the cameras. First off, location tags are on by default, so turn those off for security in the camera app settings. For once, I can finally say that the cameras on a foldable were really impressive. Now, you know how I have been harping on foldables for having potatoes for cameras, as in the camera quality looks like you're taking a picture of a potato. It's just grainy and misses all the clarity and the sharpness that you should be getting in these pictures. Well, Hasselblad teamed up with OnePlus on this phone to create an excellent pairing. So you end up with this really nice 48 megapixel quad pixel sensor. So I mainly tested the cameras in very low lit conditions at Meow Wolf Omega Mart in Vegas, which I highly recommend. I love that place. I really love the selfie photos that I got from the rear cameras. You can flip to the rear cameras using this icon on the front, and then the cover display turns into your preview monitor for the selfies. Now, taking advantage of that f1.7 aperture and the bigger sensors does help in low light. For example, this selfie with the backlit art behind me was so good. It's so clear, even though my face was in some shadow. It brought out so much detail, even the little frizzy hairs are defined. And that's not a one-off either. Here's a photo in the same room, so it did so good. Here's the wide angle with some tests in low light. Again, I had those really clear photos. Details in my face don't disappear. I think some details were over sharpened with the wide angle, but the colors look great. Now, smartphone cameras generally do not do well with red backdrops. You lose a lot of details, but that's a problem that I've noticed with tons of smartphones. Like, I also took one with my S23 Ultra, similar issue. People looked at me a little weird, but it was very fun to use the timer to take some selfies while I was alone at Meow Wolf from one side of a room to the other side. Non-selfies with those rear sensors look very lovely. You get some great depth of field. The hues in the sky are pretty blues. Clouds don't get blown out. But shots of moving subjects were a little blurry from time to time, and that would be a shutter speed issue. You can switch over to this thing called action shot, but I prefer the overall aesthetic that you get from non-action shot photos. I just think they look a little bit better. Portrait mode pushes Hasselblad in your face, comparing the 3 zooms to 3 different Hasselblad lenses. Now, if you have seen my smartphone reviews, I'm not big on portrait modes anymore. I personally feel like the aperture from the main lens without portrait mode looks way more natural these days. But we have that portrait mode setting, so of course I had to test it. The portrait modes on the OnePlus Open are good, but you can see some inconsistencies, especially in my hair where it's not quite sure where to focus. The front-facing camera on the cover screen did really great as well. With the sun behind me, it still brightened up my face and the details. I did have this really fun little lens flare in a few photos, but I thought it looked kind of artsy. The front-facing cameras do have optional face softening filters, which honestly, they kind of freak me out because they are uncanny valley. They make you look a little bit too fake, and the bokeh is not as strong. The selfie cameras do seem a little bit cooler compared to the rear lenses, so my skin tone looks more yellow or cooler than the rear cameras. Clarity and sharpness is better on those rear cameras too, especially in low light settings. Now, videos look great. In my test, the audio sounded very high quality, like I could probably record a YouTube video via the mic in the OnePlus Open and nobody would notice. Of course, I also tested the stabilization, which I thought was great as well. Just a quick video to show you image stabilization on here. I'm using the rear camera and walking around my studio. This is at the widest angle, ultra wide. And here's a video also walking around my studio to show you the image stabilization on the regular 1x zoom sensor. How do I sound? How does it look? I think it looks pretty good. Now the internals include a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 16 gigs of RAM, and 512 gigs of UFS 4.0 storage. Again, this is great for gaming, and my experience editing some videos was also very smooth. I was using CapCut. I did not experience any lag between the cuts or issues with playback. Exporting to 4K for my YouTube shorts was also very quick. The battery charges at up to 67 watts wired, which equates to 0 to 100 in 43 minutes, and in my testing, that was indeed very accurate. And it is a big 4805 milliampere hour battery with a very good standby power drain. Like, I'm reviewing a lot of phones over the next few months right now, so on the days that I was not using this one, the battery barely drained at all. So the OnePlus Open ships with a Wi-Fi 7 radio, and the Wi-Fi speeds are loads faster than my older S23 Ultra. I would say by about 2 times the speeds. So Wi-Fi 7 is awesome. It's performing quite well in this phone. The face unlock defaults to requiring eyes to be open, which I very much appreciate, and it's really quick. The power button is also a fingerprint scanner, which means that it's going to be capacitive. And this too was very quick to unlock the phone for me. Now, I've always really liked OnePlus's mobile operating system, which is built on Android. It ships with Android 13, and mine was recently updated to the most recent version, Oxygen OS 13.2. Weirdly, it also ships with one of the worst offenders in privacy, which is the Facebook app. I thought that was kind of weird. All of Google's usual services are also pre-installed. So I wanted to chat about Open Canvas, which extends split screen apps beyond the display, so you can split screen more than one app, and you can choose which ones you want to focus on. You can also use the little bar at the top of your apps to extend their viewing size, and this is called fast focus. You can also hop into split screen quickly by swiping 2 fingers down the middle of the screen. Dragging and dropping files between apps or from the taskbar is also built in, and you can use triple split to multitask between 3 different apps with smart orientation to display them the correct way. One of the other really cool features is you can pinch with 4 fingers to squish them all into a different view, but this does not work really great if you have long nails. You can also continue to use an app whenever closing the phone by swiping up on the cover display, and I really appreciate that you can do that. When I was watching shows or playing games, the dual speakers, which are found on both sides, they sound very level, very balanced, just really great overall. So with such an impressive phone, what are the downsides? Well, the new Samsung Galaxy Fold 5 can be submerged in water, and this one cannot. I would recommend avoiding water because the rating on this one is an IPX4, which is quite low compared to other foldies now. That does mean it can be splashed, but no long exposure to water. OnePlus also did not include wireless charging on the OnePlus Open. I have read this is because they opted for the super fast wired charging, but that also means that I can't use my normal wireless charging stand that I have on my nightstand. I have to use a cable instead. It's a slight inconvenience, a slight miss in my opinion, but I do love that fast wired charging, though you do have to have the compatible charger for that super VOOC fast charging, which does come in the box, but you only get one. This is one of the very few foldies that I was very impressed with for the price point, which is slightly cheaper MSRP than the Pixel Fold and the Samsung Fold 5. Now, it is hard for me to recommend anybody spend full price on a foldable. They're so expensive right now, but if you can get one of these for under $1,000 via promotions or via sales, then yeah, go for it. Notably, I would say that foldables are not for everybody. They are multitasker, they are prosumer products, really. So I will be checking out the OnePlus 12 and the 12R as well on the channel if you are looking for a traditional, less expensive phone from OnePlus. Of course, subscribing is the best way to get alerted when those videos go live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.